Hello! Today we are going to be repotting this very, very unhappy spider plant into a hanging pot. So this guy has been in this pot for I have no idea how long, but he's been in direct sunlight, and you can see that he's had some babies that just are not doing well. This guy's got some roots on him, so I could probably transplant a couple of these, but definitely I don't think I could do. I might be able to transplant the ones that are still alive, and I may just do that. If I do, I will end up putting them all in one larger container, just so that they can root and get prepared to go into their own smaller pots. But for now, I need to transplant this guy. I'm going to transplant him into this hanging pot. I've got an eye bolt put up in the ceiling where I'm going to be hanging it. That way he gets it's bright shade, which he should do a lot better and not burn as much, and hopefully his color will come back and we don't have all of the dead. So let's go ahead and start repotting it. So the first thing I want to do is remove this plastic. Luckily we've got a tear here. Probably would have been easier to start there in the first place. I want to get a small layer of fresh potting mix in here. I'm just using a plain raised bed potting mix that I picked up from a big box store. All right, so very shallow layer here. I'm gonna set this off to the side while we bring in the spider plant to try and get it unpotted. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and remove these stems for now. First things first, we're gonna go ahead and take off some of these dead bits, like so. And I just put all of that in the compost pile behind me. Go ahead and remove this. We'll leave the tip of dead just so we're not cutting into anything that is alive. And come on. There we go. We have some babies we are going to transplant and kind of hope for the best on these babies. And looking in here, it looks like we have several small plants, which is good. It increases our chance that something will live through this entire process. Okay, let's pull you. It's going to take you right here at the center. So there's not much going on here, but we'll go ahead and I don't know if he's going to live or not. There's no root system on that, so there's a good chance that nothing will come of that one. But for now, the main goal is to make sure that our mother plant is nice and healthy. Oh, this one's got some nice roots starting on the bottom. So this one should do pretty good, although those roots are very dry. here. And the last one is coming from there. Oh, he's got some good roots as well. So I think we will have a few babies that survive too. Okay. Now comes the fun part, and that's going to be freeing the plants that we have. It looks like we have 4 spider plants in here, all of varying degrees of damage, but I don't see any other than burn and dry, which I'm not gonna say are good things. But other than that, it looks like these plants are fairly okay. Let's see. I am also not a big fan of these ceramic pots. For me, the ceramic pots make it very difficult to repot. But let's see what we get. Just going to try and dislodge it. And because of who the plant belongs to, we are repotting it in another stone pot, because they love the look that the ceramic and the stone pots give them. Okay. Let's see where we are at. Not quite. Oh, these are very root bound as well. Very much root bound. I may have to separate them out into individual pots. Cool. Here, take a look at that. We have some massive roots just all throughout this. So one of the biggest problems with this pot, I'm sure you can see, is it gets wider at the base. So pulling the soil and the root ball out is not the easiest thing to do. I'm just going to put that in my compost bin. And this pot has one very small drain hole right there. And that's it for the entire pot. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have here. What I'm gonna do as well, since we are losing a lot of soil on this, we're gonna put that on a tray, try and keep some of the soil that's here. And let's see if there's any way that we can separate these. First thing I want to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to pull these little weeds out, because these are not helping anything, and they are really mixed in. It's clover, it looks like. Yeah, this is just a carpet, and I don't know how well, or if at all, we'll be able to separate these. Okay, we've got a separation here. Yeah, these guys are just so intertwined, and I don't think I'm going to be able to separate them all without damaging all of them. Seriously root bound. Come on. Wow. So now we need to decide just how much of these roots will be okay for these plants to still survive. Because there is just so much going on here. So I'm only going to be taking one of these and putting it in that pot. That was just too much. This is just too much for one pot. At least in my opinion, it's too much for one pot. Overall, I don't think the roots look like they're that bad. But that would also be asking somebody who doesn't know what the roots should look like, what roots should look like. Ooh, there we go. This guy's almost free. There we go. Overall, I think we kept a good amount of root here. We will trim them up a little bit more, clean this off, and then repot him. When we repot him, we'll repot him up to this layer right here where he was. Okay. Let's see who the next guy is to get free. Oh, you seem to just want to come out, don't you? You saw your buddy leave and you are just ready. At least up to a point. Okay. Yeah, so these roots wrap around everything. There. So, come on. I think this is the last set. Oh, one more. Alrighty. 2 are free. So now with what's in here, we also have to decide what roots will be necessary to keep in the plant. Or in the final plant. There we go. So this one has a much more beautiful root system going on. So I'm hoping the best for him. Now we have this guy, and he's got all the tangled mess that's left behind. And I'm pretty certain that not all of this tangled mess belongs to this plant. Come on, there we go. Oh, how badly have I destroyed this guy? Okay, not too bad. There we go. Then it looks like we had another plant that was growing here, because each one of these seemed to have a big tuber type root. But I'm just going to put all of this and all of this right in our compost bin. So now we have a better idea of what we're looking at. We have a total of 4 plants here. We are going to repot. So I have a couple of trade gallon pots here that I was going to put, that I can put 2 of them in. I have the pot that they came out of, and we have the pot that we were going to originally use for one of them, when I thought it was just one plant. So I think this is the one we are going to be putting back into, or we'll be putting into this pot. So I held the plant at the point where I want the base of the plant to be, and I'm just filling in around. I held it there until I had enough soil in place to hold it where I wanted it. And now I'm just going to fill right around and bring that soil right up to the top. And we'll give him a little bit of water, and then he will be able to be hung up. So the original pot, that's going to take this guy with all the big root surface on it. So this pot doesn't have the ropes for the hanging apparatus, and that really does make the potting for this one go a lot faster. Downside is I know that in time, if I ever have to repot this, I know that's going to be root bound severely, and it's going to be a pain to get out. Okay, we are looking good here. We have our last two. We have a couple of trade pots. Let's get the roots. Ooh. Yeah, those are already root bound in there. So I'm going to need to get new pots for these two as soon as possible. But at least this will let me know if these two plants are going to live. There we go. And there we go. Thanks for joining me as I repotted these spider plants. We will be back in a couple of weeks to see how well they're doing. All right, it has been about a week and a half since I repotted the spider plants. There has been a little trauma to it. Some of it's not doing, we've had some bits that have gone here, down here. But overall, the plants are looking like they're in pretty good shape. There's that side. We have the one that went in the hanging pot up here. Then we have all the babies, and all the babies, well, for the most part, the babies look like they're doing pretty good. They're still alive. Hopefully they're rooting well. We'll try repotting them in a couple of weeks, I'm thinking, just to hopefully give them some roots. And then we can put them in some smaller pots by themselves. And this one is doing fairly well as well. So yeah, for the most part, they're doing pretty good. So I'm gonna say, at this point in time anyway, it has been a successful transplant. All right, thanks for joining along as we repotted these spider plants. I hope you learned something about it. I really did learn a lot, because it's not something I've done a lot before. Something one of my friends did say is that spider plants do like being root bound, even though every few years they take it out and give the roots a little bit of a trim so that they can flourish. We'll find out. Hopefully these do really well, and we will look at them. We'll look at the babies again in a couple of weeks, see how they're doing, see if they're ready to be repotted, and we'll keep an eye on these guys and make sure they're doing well. All right, thanks for joining along, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.